Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, misery bots of all ages, back again. But this time, I want to talk about the sales for MK11 and the fact that it actually sold more than 1,500 million. But before I get into the video, like, share, subscribe, and check out the other videos. Let's get into this one. Now, for those who don't know, Mortal Kombat 11 sold over 15 million units by the end of 2022. Now, you're wondering, like, wow, that's a big number. Know what I mean? But what most people don't take into account is the fact that that was in 2022. We are currently in 2025, 3 years after Mortal Kombat 11 has hit that 15 million mark. Now, what leads me to believe that it sold more than 15 million units since then is the fact that the game was very popular still in 2022 and even into 2023. Not only that, the game continued to sell very well. The game continued to sell very well even after 2022. So if you look at the trends, if you break down the numbers, you can easily determine that Mortal Kombat 11 is probably sitting somewhere closer to 20 million units. Now, with the merger with Netflix that they're buying out WB and they're getting Mortal Kombat, I hope somewhere along the lines that the numbers for Mortal Kombat 11 actually finally reveals itself so that we can get a final number as to how well this game sold, because I am of the mind that the game has sold closer to 20 million units, making it the second best selling fighting game of all time, right behind, well, let me not say right behind, but behind Smash Brothers Ultimate, which is the best selling fighting game of all time. That game sold like crazy. I think that thing is over 30 million units sold. That game, and then I think that game still continues to sell. But that game is an anomaly. Mortal Kombat being 20 million units sold would actually make it the second best selling fighting game of all time. But what makes me get into that particular conclusion? Well, if you were to Google MK11 sales, and I will have these linked in the descriptions below, you will see that Mortal Kombat 11 achieved 8 million units by October 2020. Now, some people might say, well, that was following the high of MKX. Yeah, there is true. There was a lot of hype around MKX. MKX was a really good fighting game, in my opinion. It is debatably the best Mortal Kombat fighting game ever made. So yes, there is a lot of goodwill and a lot of hype following MKX. Then you might have some people say, you know what, that COVID happened in 2020, so that also added to the sales. Even though people tend to forget that, yeah, COVID happened in 2020, but the lockdown was only for about a month. You know what I mean? Like the lockdown, people were out of work for at most a month. It's not like people were out of work the entire year, so they were home buying up games and stuff like that. So no, whatever sales it would have accomplished would have happened within like a month or 2 month stretch. So, and that would have been early October 2022, early 2022 as well, as COVID hit like late 2019, early 2020. So yeah, by June or whatever, the lockdown and everything was up and everybody was back to work, but the game still sold 8 million. So if you want to contribute that to all of that, fine, I guess. But yet and still, in less than 2 years from the launch of Mortal Kombat 11, the game had sold 8 million units, which is phenomenal. But what most people don't take into account that less than a year later, from October 2020 to July of 2021, which is less than a year later, I want to say that is closer to 8 months, 9 months or so, the game hit 12 million units. So in less than a year, the game sold another 4 million units, which is excellent. It's superb. In less than a year to sell another 4 million units, let's take into account something like Street Fighter 6, which is a highly successful game, one of the best selling Street Fighter games, not the best. I think Street Fighter 2 is the best selling Street Fighter game. But Street Fighter 6 is one of the best selling fighting games. And in 2 years, it sold 6 million. Whereas on Mortal Kombat 11's third year, it sold 4 million units between its second and third year, which is almost as much as Street Fighter sold in its first 2 years. So, yeah, the game was highly popular. The game is still highly popular. And to make things even more evident, is that from July 2021 to, I want to say it was like October, November of 2022. So about a year, a little bit over a year, it sold another 3 million copies. And this is going on its third year. Now, mind you, the last real update for Mortal Kombat 11 was in late 2021. So it hitting 15 million units by the end of 2022. That was happening when it was getting no more updates. Support for Mortal Kombat 11 had officially ended, and the game still went on to sell 3 million units, which is wild. Which is absolutely wild. And you only have to Google it to confirm those numbers. Now, with that trajectory, because you see 8 million within less than the first 2 years, and then a couple months after that, you see another 4 million, and then about a year, a little bit more than a year after that, you see another 3 million. What's the likelihood of the game just up and dying, like no more sales, completely flatlining right after that? It's highly unlikely. But due to the trajectory and the sales slowly starting to decrease, well, it makes sense to think that maybe in 2023 it sold another 2 million, or maybe another 1.5 million, or maybe another million in 2023. I tend to think it probably sold closer to around 2 to 3 million again, because in 2023 sales for Mortal Kombat 11, or hype for Mortal Kombat 11, was still very high. If you were just to Google MK11 sales in 2023, and I will have that link in the descriptions below, it specifically says, while specific 2023 sales figures for Mortal Kombat 11 aren't readily available, these snippets by late 2022, it had already surpassed 15 million copies sold. Yeah, we already know that. Becoming one of the best MK games ever, remaining popular enough in 2023 to even feature at Evo. So, yes, not only is it one of the best selling Mortal Kombat games, in terms of longevity, it has like the most Mortal Kombat appearances, or some of the most Mortal Kombat appearances at tournaments and stuff like that. Sales continued steadily with its overall success, contributing with the newer MK1. So it just says, it's basically saying that, the success of MK11 helped the initial sales of MK1. But if you scroll on down, it says overall success, MK11 sold over 15 million copies by 2022 and continued to sell well into 2023. So it continued to sell well into 2023, which makes sense. If you look at the trajectory, first year, 8 million. Then, first 2 years, 8 million. Then the next year, 4 million. Then the year after that, it's about 3 million. So, yeah, you can assume that it's going to continue to sell into the millions at that. It's not just going to have like a massive drop off. In terms of longevity, it remains relevant and popular in 2023, even appearing at Evo, demonstrating its strong franchise legacy. Comparisons to MK1, MK11 consistent sales and broad appeal sets a high bar, with new releases like MK1 selling slower but still achieving significant numbers. So if you were just to Google, it lets you know, like, yo, the sales for the game was popping, even giving MK1 a run for his money. The game was so popular that the MK1 sales was slow in comparison. But if that's not enough. By this point, NetherRealm and WB was focusing on MK1, so they wasn't really talking about sales or anything regarding MK11. But the sales for 11 MK11 continue to proceed, and even though we don't have any actual sales numbers in 2024, we do have player numbers. If you were to go to truetrophies.com for the top 100 most popular games in 2024, Mortal Kombat 11 is actually sitting at number 40. And that's actually down from 28 the year before, which would have been 2023, which adds to the fact that, yeah, the game was still selling crazy in 2023. But in 2024, it was sitting at number 40 as the 40th most popular game on PlayStation, which is big because when you consider the fact that PlayStation is the most popular platform, like console platform at least, and for it to be sitting on 40, it beat out games in terms of popularity like Cyberpunk 2077, Resident Evil 4, Modern Warfare. Yes, Mortal Kombat 11 was beating out those games in terms of player counts and popularity in 2024, which was 5 years after the game launch. Not only that, like I said, it hadn't had an update since 2021. So it hadn't by 2024, it hadn't had an update in 3 years. In 3 years, it hasn't had any significant update, and it was still the 40th most popular game on PlayStation. And that's just in 2024. Now, if you want to get even crazier, now even I do believe by 2025 sales did begin to dip a bit more. But if you were to look at Xbox True Achievements for 2025, Mortal Kombat 11 actually sits as number 81 as the most 81 most popular played games on Xbox. And these are numbers for 2025 ranging from January 1st to June 1st of 2025. Yes, and Mortal Kombat 11 is still sitting. It's still sitting amongst the top 100 most played games on Xbox, resting comfortably at 81, beating out games like Stardew Valley. It's beating out games like Battlefield, Dragon Ball Xenoverse, Doom Eternal, Battlefield 5, like just Battlefield games in general. It's beating out some heavy hitters. Mind you, this is 6 years into Mortal Kombat 11's life cycle. So is it really hard to believe that a game that's still this popular is still continuing to sell and continuing to sell at a good margin? At this point, I think, I hope, I pray that after the merger or acquisition by Netflix, that the numbers for these Mortal Kombat games, such as Mortal Kombat 11, finally come out and finally reveal that Mortal Kombat 11 had sold 20 million or over 20 million units sold, and that the player count is still relatively large. If you were to Google, there are some sites that says that Mortal Kombat's daily active users are, well, let me say that monthly reach on a monthly basis, roughly 143,000 unique players engage across all platforms. So there are 143,000 different people playing Mortal Kombat every month across all platforms. So yeah, and that's in 2025. And those numbers are as of October 2025. The game is still popular. It's crazy for a game that hasn't had any sort of an update in 4 years, for a game that is 6 going on 7 years old to still be this popular. And if you were to just look at some of the sales it has going on, a lot of the times you can pick Mortal Kombat 11 up, the Ultimate Edition, for less than $10, which is an amazing sale or just an amazing deal for just the amount of content you'll get. And I'll probably do another video just letting you guys know and just showing you guys the amount of content in Mortal Kombat 11. You can't go wrong with getting this game for less than $10. So with that being said, let me know in the comments below, do you think Mortal Kombat is sitting at 20 million units sold by now? If not, let me know in the comments below. If you agree, disagree, leave it in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff.